So I'm just going to do some picking and following my own intuition and a sense of what will be the best experience for everyone. Is there someone here who I've never met before, who's new to seeing, or at least who I'm new to seeing, who might like a reading? This is okay. With the bird on her shirt. Ariel, am I on the right side? Thank you. Okay. Hey, what's your name?
Jamela.
Jamela.
Yes.
Thanks for sitting with me, Jamela. So I know a few things about you, Jamela, already, just because I see you over here. But I'm going to try my best to forget everything I know about you by looking at you and just feel into what's going on with you. And you don't have to do anything. You're fine as you are. There's nothing will make it easier or harder for you. It's all good. Just give me 1 second. Well, before I even start tuning into you, I can feel a sort of flow between us, suggesting to me that there's something maybe familiar in what I'm doing, that this is something on some level you might do. I can feel something like your curiosity extending into my body. So you might be sort of scanning me on some level before I scan you, or scanning me, scanning you, or something like that. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you are also at least relatively empathic and playing with it too, as I am. And this is before I even feel into you. I've just been feeling how my energy is shifting under the influence of somebody else, like you're coming into me the way I'm used to coming into others. Okay, now I'm going to send you out of my system so that I can find you instead. Can I have your hands? Thanks. Actually, you're fine. You're fine. No, just one's good. We're going to start by what's going on with you right now. You're pleased. You're pleased to be up here. You're attentive, eager, and a little bit excited. And that's what's going on right now. For those of you who can't see me, first you have the advantage of seeing the person I'm reading, which is always fun. And second of all, I want to tell you that my eyes are closed. So I'm just doing this simply by tuning into my body. And Jamela, if you could, don't even give me any verbal feedback. Okay, can I have your hand again? So beyond this moment, feels to me like you have really been opening up lately. And eager generally in life, taking in a lot more new experiences, starting to have a lot of fun in life. And when it feels really good, there's this adventurous spirit where you're like consuming life. And sometimes, I know I called this frustration earlier, but right now it feels a little bit more like impatience. Like even though you seem to be moving fast in your exploration of your abilities and your purpose, there's still a part of you that wants to be moving faster. That's the major thing I feel going on with you right now. And there's something pulling at me deeper than that. It's a really heavy feeling that hides underneath. Okay, we'll try again in a little bit. So the trick with me and all the distractions is I can't pretend they're not happening. So I just integrate them. And then I feel how each one affects me so that I can, like noise canceling headphones, know how it's affecting me and then attempt to refocus. And at the same time, to the extent that it's possible to calm it down, that would be much appreciated. Okay. Can I have your... So I was talking about this energy that's pulling me in, despite what seems to be an exuberant and open period that you're going through. And it feels very old, this quality. And stuck. I'm having trouble getting in there. I'm going to keep trying. Okay, yeah. It's a lot of fear that you seem to have been pushing through, working your way past, and might have felt like you've let go of, but it's showing up here right now. And this fear it's like it's pulling at you in two directions. I feel like it's over here. On the one hand, it's this fear of being overwhelmed, it seems to me. I might be saying that because of a sense of how sensitive I felt you to be at the beginning, or I might just be getting that independently, and those two stories line up. This fear of being overwhelmed that has in the past, but doesn't seem to be now, constricted you from shining as brightly as you appear to be now. And then this other thing that goes beyond, feels very deep and family-oriented. For those watching at home, I feel like sharing something of my process here. I'm feeling into this feeling that I can't quite put words to. And so what I'm doing in my head is just kind of cycling through a whole bunch of words, or allowing words to come up, and waiting for that moment when the words line up with the feeling in my body so that my nervous system relaxes. No different than if you were trying to name your own feelings. You're trying to name your own feelings, and then when you say it just right, something in you goes, ah. So that's what I'm looking for as I tune into Jamela's feelings. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have your hand one more time? Oh, this stickiness, like being locked into a family dynamic that you can't break out of, that's still holding you back and making things feel heavy. So my suspicion is that in order for you to have come into yourself, as I sense you have been recently, you've had to put aside some of your old roles in your family and maybe even step away. And that would be, if I'm tuning into you correctly, a really healthy thing to do. You've needed this separation, and it's been really good for you, and it continues to be good for you. But the stuckness of the family dynamic is still present within you, and holding you back a little bit. And I can feel this like frozen part of you. Do you have an older sister?
No.
What I'm feeling that made me say that is just this, almost like this semi-tyrannical dynamic where you had to contain yourself. Another thing this is not you, Jamela, this is just me and sharing my process, is that when I get a little lost up here, as I am now, just a little bit, I get insecure and I start internalizing I start believing in my projection of the audience as impatience, and that creates like a ripple of anxiety in me. And then there's a part of me that wants to push myself faster, which doesn't do anything. So I just sit with this like anxiety that I feel around the audience, keep feeling it, keep accepting it, and then go back and try to be patient with myself. Okay. All right. And that gave me that brief pause gave me a sense of what's going on here, which is that it's not in our benefit right now. While I do feel like it's safe for me to look in and I don't feel like you're blocking me, and I do feel like I have permission here, my sense is that delving into these dark corners in your family's dynamic is not what's called for now, and that what you've been doing by pushing through by going out on your own and exploring on your own and asserting your independence is what's called for. And the reason why David, I'm getting stuck here is because it's not in service to you to get you to look at that yet. And just to continue to encourage you to keep marking out on your own. And now as I say that, now I feel relaxed. It's like, okay, that's what needed to be said. And so I'm going to go below this stuckness into what I experience to be your essential nature. And who I believe you'll find yourself to be when you've made it to the other side of this exploration. And that's something of the word that comes to me is mystic. So while you have all this, you have a lot of energy flowing through you now, I think maybe when you settle over time, you'll find that you're relatively calm by nature, and that you're here to take in some really beautiful truths and hold them really lightly and offer them to people. You seem to have, maybe not yet, but soon, a really effortless relationship with truth of the higher variety. And Jamela, if this feels true to you, what I've said, and again, if it doesn't, then we just let it go, but if it feels true to you, then I would just I'd give you just the following bit of emotional feedback, which is what I was saying earlier, which is like, you're right that it's the time to break out of the past, and that sometimes we have to put things in a big suitcase, throw it over there, not deal with it, strike out on our own, explore who we want to be. And then finally, when we've done that, when we're rooted enough in our own sense of self, then that's the time to open the suitcase. So that's what I've got for you. Just keep marching to the beat of your own drum. And when you feel that pressure pulling back at you, just push it to the side, ignore it. It's not there to help you yet. And then when you're ready, you can come back to it, but not for a while. Yeah. Before you sit down, I'd be curious if you have any reflections or anything you'd want to share, any questions.
Wow, there was just so much. I guess if I worked backward in what you said, I I think one of the things that really hit me was your hitting the nail on the head when you talked about that stuck energy and like negative energy that's been there for a very long time. And then definitely the family dynamic. Yeah. And that's something I've been thinking about recently. My either willingness or awareness about what's been happening and how I can move forward and not allow it to hamper my growth. And I've definitely been very open. I would say within the last 6 to 8 months, I'm doing a lot of work, and definitely trying to make sure that I'm happy and that I'm doing things that are fulfilling to me, and things that are, I think the word today that I used was fulfilling.
Hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can hold my hand. You want to give me a hug?
Yeah.
We can do a hug. Yeah, we can do a hug. Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I feel like reflecting one thing from that, which is there's a tendency among people who do work on themselves to always want to look into the dark stuff or pull it out or examine it or heal it. And this would be a case where that might be exactly the less growthful thing to do. And sometimes the just raw assertion of our own independence and the shoving away of our darker parts is exactly what we need to do in order to get enough of a grip on ourselves to have the foundation to look inward. And I don't know how to know what that line is, like when is it? But I suspect that if you're feeling like, I have to do this deep work, I've got to do it, that would probably be a sure sign that you don't. And the opposite would be true, like, oh, okay, I think I'm ready. That would probably be the moment when you're probably something like ready.